Motorola Solutions reporting a double beat on earnings and revenue. With sales up 10% since last year, the technology company expecting its second quarter revenue to grow between 7 and 8%, while raising its full-year revenue growth expectations to 7%. Take a look at the stock this morning, and we are watching these shares right now down at 349 and change. Joining me right now, the boss, live from the Milken Conference, Motorola Solutions Chairman and CEO, Greg Brown, back with me. Greg, it's great to see you.
Good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Your company is in the sweet spot, I feel, of security everywhere, and I want to get your take on that. First, tell us about the quarter. What drove growth?
I think it's a number of things. We grew revenue double digits. We grew earnings 27%. We exited the quarter with record backlog, strong backlog across the portfolio. You know, we do these mission-critical emergency communications for police and fire. There's 13,000 of those private networks around the world. We do 911 software, 911 call handling, routing, dispatch, records, evidentiary management, and then all things video. So I think we have one of the widest product portfolios in video, fixed video, mobile video, license plate recognition, and of course we're using AI analytics to drive and power a lot of the portfolio.
I'll ask you about AI in a second, but what I really love is the fact that you're actually benefiting from this need for more security.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we're in a dangerous world right now.
Sure.
This makes Motorola Solutions that much more important. The radio refresh I want to hear about, because I see that the typical refresh cycle for public safety is 7 years. Is that right?
So in the U.S., so if you, in your smartphone for consumer use, you replace your phone every 2 or 3 years. First responders, police officers here in the States, on average, replace their radio every 7 years. We have revamped and refreshed our device portfolio in the U.S., in Europe, in other markets. So we're in the early to mid-innings of a device refresh, which is powering a lot of the growth, along with services expansion, managed services, and all things video. So the innovation in the company has been great.
That is fantastic. Do you feel like our police and, you know, local security have the tools that they need? Are they investing in this increased innovation? There's
no question. Police forces are investing in video security. They're investing in more sophisticated device refresh. Again, these networks are reliable, redundant, always on. Unlike a cellular network, which can go out or be congested with traffic, these are private networks. These networks are dedicated entirely to NYPD, Chicago PD, Dallas PD, and they're designed and configured in a way to have superior performance all the time. They are investing. By the way, the device you reference is it's the best police radio that there is, but it also has LTE, which means it's a dual-banded radio, so software programming updates can go right over the air into the radio, much like you would get an Android or iOS update. And it is powering a lot of the earnings and revenue growth that we have. It's great.
I love it. Yeah. Our men and women in blue need the best technology, and you're providing that. Now, there's a reason that the Chinese are looking at your company and they're trying to steal intellectual property. That's been the case for a long time.
Long time, Maria.
And I have talked about this, and I wrote all about that story that you shared with me in my book, The Cost, where you actually had to apprehend someone at the airport who had pockets full of hard drives and soft drives they were stealing information from Motorola.
Well, that was that was an earlier situation. That was over 15 years ago.
A long time ago, but you're still dealing with that kind of stuff?
So now we're suing a company called Hytera. We are in our 7th year. They can run, but they can't hide. They owe us almost $600 million. And in addition to what they owe us, there's about $60 million in escrow. They stole trade secret, patents, source code. They did it. We found out in 2016. This is the 7th year of us pursuing them. We will get them. By the way, Maria, in addition to the civil case we brought, there's a 21-count criminal indictment by the U.S. Department of Justice that commences in Q4. These are bad actors. They stole. They're trying to eviscerate our intellectual property, put it in competitive Chinese radios. We found it. We're not going to stand for it. We're going to chase. We're going to collect.
Greg, we talk about China stealing intellectual property and the bad behavior from the Communist Party every day on this program. And you're fighting back. You say they can run, but they can't hide. Specifically, are they not admitting that there's, and how are they getting that intellectual property? How are they stealing it?
They usually, well, in this case, they stole it from within. These were former Motorola engineers that took intellectual property. But by the way, if you think about this, Motorola was one of the very first companies in China in 1986. Maria, at our peak, way back when, before I was there, Motorola had $3.5 billion of revenue in China and 15,000 employees. Today, we have virtually no revenue and 50 employees. So after these infractions going back a decade and a half ago, we made the decision, get out of China. It's not a productive market. They don't play on even terms. The Communist Party leads the theft of intellectual property and patents. So the addressable market of $66 billion that we pursue for public safety and national security is zeroing out China. We left that market.
That is incredible. And that was a courageous move that you made the decision to make, because everybody thinks, well, I want to go to China because I want to sell to 1.4 billion people, and the population is so huge that it's this business opportunity. You saw it differently, and I know our viewers are so proud to hear that. I want to get your take on what the government can be doing about this, because I'm reading this that in 2022, the U.S. government banned a variety of Chinese manufacturers, including Hytera.
That's right.
The one that you're suing, and yet we still have these companies here. Huawei is still in America. So tell me what needs to be done. They banned, the U.S. government banned those manufacturers, but some companies are still using them.
Right. So the National Defense Authorization Act banned Hytera, Huawei, ZTE, and then 2 video security providers, Hikvision and Dahua. That was the right move. The NDAA said, the U.S. government said, you can no longer buy equipment for these 5. In any government agencies, and you can't use U.S. grant money for those 5. That was the right move. What they did not do is say you have to rip and replace this equipment. So it's still resident in many different installations and instantiations. I get it, but over time you will see them phased out. Now, I also like, in the meantime, I think the export controls that the Commerce Department, Gina Raimondo, and in the Trump administration that did before that, I think they did a lot of good things. They're trying to control critical technologies from going into the Communist Party, whether it's semiconductors, analytics, and other things. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, and we should point out that you cut out of China just in time because they just slapped all these new national security laws down, and that enables the Chinese officials to go in any company and take whatever they want.
Yeah, well, they've been doing that for a while, in my opinion, but I'm thrilled we're not there.
Yeah. So what else? How long will this suit go on in terms of Hytera? You say they owe $600 million.
That's a verdict that's been slapped on them. We'll see what happens. I think it will be reconciled this year. And the criminal case is an entirely separate case. But it takes 7 years and a lot of money. But I'd spend that all day long to protect the innovation and the intellectual property of the superb engineers in Motorola Solutions. Real quick before you go, AI, you know, you're talking about that. How has that changed your business? Huge. We're using analytics and artificial intelligence for video security and access control. We're doing it at 911. In 911, if you respond to a 911 call faster in the U.S. by 1 minute, it saves 10,000 lives. In the old proposition, when somebody was evaluating video security, you sat in a room, you looked at 30 different screens of TVs and eye candy, and it was the human had to detect what's in the video. We've inverted the proposition where the video detects the problem and informs you. A stolen vehicle, an Amber Alert, a brandished weapon, and we're integrating that public safety ecosystem across everything we do. I love it. Greg, it's great to have you this morning. Great to see you, Maria. Thanks so much. Thank you. Greg Brown is the chairman and CEO of Motorola Solutions. We'll be right back.